So here we're going to assess some basic options at restaurants. If your meal comes with fries or potatoes, you're going to ask for a side salad or a sweet potato or have steamed vegetables instead. This is definitely going to decrease your sodium intake and also your caloric intake, which can help you decrease body fat. Instead of choosing red meat or pork, we urge you to choose poultry, fish, or vegetarian options. This is a really nice little meal here. Um, you can also throw on a sweet potato or baked potato into this, but this has some simple topping on it, which hopefully is not salted, and that's another thing. Make sure to ask your server when they season your meat not to put any added salt. And it comes with a lemon here, this meal, so that's a good way to season food without using salt. Also, we're going to steer clear of fried foods. Always pick the steamed, broiled, or baked option. It usually means that's not breaded and it's not filled with extra saturated fat and sodium. Some more options that you may have: instead of white bread, pasta, or sugary cereals, you're going to choose whole grains and low sodium multigrain breads or wraps. Definitely start to look at the sodium content of the breads and baked goods that you typically buy. You may be surprised to see that even in just one piece of bread, you're eating way more sodium than you expected. Obviously, choosing whole grain options is the way to go, replacing some of your baked goods with brown rice. This is, I think, millet. This is like a long grain rice. Keeping stuff like that at home and adding them to your meals instead of using baked goods and breads and stuff definitely goes a long way. It's a much heart healthier option. We definitely want to avoid whole fat cheeses, creams, and butters. Choose unsalted butter and low fat dairy. But just so you know, unsalted butter is usually super high in sodium anyway. There are some alternatives. They have some vegan spreads now that are like pea protein based or soy based, and they can be a lower sodium option than even unsalted butter. But again, just really start to take a look at some of the nutrition facts and the common foods that you buy for your house. And avoid baked goods and high fat dairy desserts. Enjoying a piece of fruit or a low fat yogurt can really make you feel so much healthier and really boost your confidence in terms of making these decisions that used to be a knee-jerk poor decision now becomes a healthy default where we're choosing an apple or fruit salad and maybe a banana with unsalted almond butter as an option instead of eating some high fat, high sugar, baked good or cake. And condiments really can be a hidden source of sodium for a lot of people that could cause problems. So I wanted to give you some options of low sodium condiments and seasonings that can help you succeed and help keep you on track and still be making your food delicious and appealing. Vegetable oils are low in sodium, olive oil, coconut oil, things like that. As I mentioned before, unsalted margarine and spreads with no trans fats. Apple cider vinegar is a good one. It has numerous health benefits. It really packs a punch. You can make a vinaigrette or a reduction, some kind of marinade with apple cider vinegar. Lemon and lime juice are great. You buy a big bottle of lemon juice or lime juice. Make sure there's no added sodium in that. Again, you can make dressings with it, marinades, even just season your vegetables. Keeping on hand no salt added ketchup or low sodium ketchup. Again, really make sure you start looking at the nutrition facts of your ketchup bottle and opting for one that has less sodium. Ginger is a great seasoning and also very flavorful. People cook with ginger. You can add it alongside with your ginger. Sushi can be a low sodium option depending upon what you're getting. We will go in further later to a Chinese food menu that also has Japanese food and some, sushi options. I definitely urge you to choose ginger over soy sauce or wasabi paste. Herbs and spices, keeping a nice a variety of spices in your spice rack can help you stay on track. I like smoked paprika. I add it to all kinds of things. It's very flavorful. It makes things interesting, but it's not too spicy or peppery. Also, some other options are low sodium salsa or picante sauce. Again, take a look at the nutrition label. If you see something that has low sodium, it can be a great thing to add to salads or to rice bowls, use on top of tacos, all different kinds of stuff. Low fat mayo is typically fairly low in sodium. You can make your own dressings and dips with low fat mayo and also use it as a sandwich spread on your low fat breads or wraps. Chopped vegetables, I love always using onions and garlic minced up as the start to a lot of my meals. You can keep sliced peppers in your freezer. That's another great way to season foods. Unsalted almond butter and whole fruit jellies. Whole fruit jellies typically have less sodium than jams. Again, take a look at your nutrition label before you purchase it, but it's a great way to uh, also add variety as with different flavored fruit jellies, almond butters, and unsalted peanut butter. But be careful, some unsalted peanut butter also is still high in sodium. Some more tips for choosing healthy options. Avoid getting too hungry and making on the spot decisions. Try to bring snacks with you like fresh fruits and cut vegetables. Pack your lunches to go. If you're going to be out all day and you think you'll be running late for dinner, keep some snacks with you on hand so you're not more apt to make a snap decision that could be a high sodium one. Look for low sodium and low fat substitutes when you're at the grocery store. Be mindful of it. Eat more whole foods. This is a great suggestion for everyone, but especially people dealing with heart disease. Keep different vegetables that you like snacking on in your fridge. If you enjoy cucumbers, carrots, peppers, if you like salads, fresh fruits, even sliced tomatoes, can really help you stay on track. When you do eat packaged snacks, choose ones with smaller number of ingredients is typically a good rule of thumb. And again, as I've been beating this over the head, make sure you really pay attention to the nutrition labels on your packaged foods and snacks. These are foods that everyone should typically avoid, and they might seem like some of the best things, but they're not the heart healthy options, and that's the most important thing here is keeping our hearts healthy and running because we need it to survive. So we want to avoid cold cuts and cured meats. Pizza is usually super high in sodium. It has salt in the sauce, in the dough, in the cheese. It's just a sodium nightmare. Hot dogs and hamburgers are usually very high in sodium and high in saturated fat. Savory snacks like salted chips and pretzels and popcorn. Simple carbs, white breads, pastas, rice that has sodium in it. You want to avoid anything that comes with a seasoning in it. Soups, usually broths and even creamy soups, are super high in sodium. Fried foods are double whammy, and desserts usually are high in sodium, sugar, saturated fat. So they just put a strain on your heart, and they're truly not worth it. So some foods that help you stay on track might not seem as appealing, but as I mentioned, there's all different kinds of recipes, and the internet is a great resource for using some of these fresh ingredients. Leafy greens, red, yellow, and orange vegetables, root vegetables, fresh fruit, berries and bananas, broccoli and cauliflower, legumes and bean curds, all different kinds of beans, lentils, and things like that. Seafood, white meat, oatmeal, and whole grain foods like brown rice, quinoa, whole rolled oats. Not using oatmeal that is comes in the packet that already is seasoned. That's usually high in sodium, but keeping our foods whole and as close to the natural source as possible. Olive oil and canola oil, as I mentioned before, other vegetable oils, coconut, and things like that. Fat free dairy products, unsalted nuts and seeds, and dark chocolate is actually surprisingly also a healthy snack. This is a bowl of muesli here, and they have some fresh raspberries and dried fruit in it. This with a low fat uh, milk or nut milk could be good. Roasted root vegetables, anything with onion and garlic, as I mentioned, is delicious. peel this and cut it up and put it in a baking pan with some olive oil. It would be a delicious side and even a good base to a whole meal. I've included some resources here for you to take a look at if you'd like. Um, any of these websites can answer some of the questions that you might have about things I already went over that you didn't have a full understanding of, or some other additional questions you may have. Here's the Mayo Clinic's Healthy Lifestyle Tips. USDA has a Choose My Plate website, which basically is a general rule of thumb on healthy eating styles and how we should create our meals. The FDA has a nutrition education website, and this has all different kinds of resources on it. They also used to have, the federal government used to have a food tracker website, the Super Tracker, but that's ending soon. So I'm going to give you on the next slide some other free food log websites. And most of this, if you go to these websites, they're fairly repetitive in the nature that they are saying the same thing. The American Heart Association is going to give you the same suggestions that the FDA and the Mayo Clinic and that I have today. These are all tips on how to stay healthy for good. So this is actually a useful resource if you would like, some confirmation on some of the things that we've discussed today. And here are the resources for some of the food apps and fitness logs that are free and available for you to use. It helps keep you accountable. It could also help give you a better idea of how much sodium you're intaking. If you're not someone who is good at kind of keeping track of things like this in your head, these websites are definitely very useful. They have all of the nutrition information for each food on there for the most part, most common foods, and it can keep a daily log of how much you're eating compared to how much you should be eating, and can keep you aware of how much sodium you're intaking. So one is MyFitnessPal. This is a website from Under Armour, and as I mentioned, these are all free. Spark People has another free calorie counter app, and it also has some resources for fitness and keeping accountable. It has reminders for exercise and things like that. And same thing with My Diet Coach. It gives you ways to come up with dietary plans, set reminders for fitness activities, and monitors your progress, your weight loss, your sodium intake, all kinds of different fun stuff. So to summarize this presentation, you do have the opportunity to increase your life expectancy. You can take small, healthy actions towards healthy living, and you can start doing that right now. You should adhere to your medical recommendations from your doctor, continue taking all of your medications, and keep going regularly for screenings. And remember, it is important to reduce your intake of sodium, especially if you had a high sodium lifestyle before. It really is so vital for your heart health and for your longevity and your livelihood. You can adopt healthy habits. You are capable of making these decisions every day, and small, attainable goals will get you there. If you have a slip up, try not to be hard on yourself. This is an adjustment, but along with all of this information you've learned today and whatever information you seek from your medical professional, you can make healthy changes. I want to thank you so much for watching my presentation. I hope that this has all been informative and helpful for you. I'm going to quickly give you a list of some of the references that were used to create this presentation, some statistics websites, medical journals, and epidemiological studies done and published by medical journals. Some more here, and here are the references for my photos that I used as well. Thank you so much. I hope that you have a great day and good luck.